David Denny had built the kind of business most entrepreneurs want. He's working with his wife. He's traveling the world. He's helping thousands of insurance agents grow their social media, their personal branding, their businesses. Then his doctor told him his cholesterol was higher than it should be. Started considering medication, and Dave was like, "No way, not doing that." So he took a hop, skip, and a jump into the fast lane of changing his health. Found better ways to manage nutrition, health, into the busy lifestyle that he has with his wife, and that's what we're talking about today, along with being authentic in an AI driven world. And even more so, why we're on this podcast is real people having real conversations. And we'll also talk about health and its relationship to business, accountability, and sharing your real story behind what makes you you so that people can know, like, and trust you better. Welcome to Driven for Health, episode 132. Coach Brian Prana, and welcome, David, to the show. And I already prepped you. So, what is the biggest takeaway that we want the audience to have from our conversation?
So, I mean, not only, of course, balancing your health with the business, but I think the biggest practical application from that as a takeaway is making sure you have others to hold you accountable, that know your goals, that you're trying to accomplish there. Is if we keep those to ourselves, it's easy to let up on them or kind of shift or give ourselves any reasons to not follow that. But if we have others that are in our corner holding us accountable or just even aware of what those are, whether a family or even publicly, like on social media, we're much more likely to hit those goals.
I totally agree. And that's really what I've done for 23 years is just hold people to do the things that they said they were going to do, but in the easiest, best way for them so that they, in my case, lose the weight, but more importantly, keep it off and get rid of some bad blood panels and all. And that's one of the points that we want to talk about here is you do take care of your health now, but that wasn't always the case. And so what were some of your like health wake up call earlier on that said, "Hey, I actually need to do something about this," and then we'll jump into your actual story with your wife. And I'm a high school sweetheart too, so we'll go into that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's two bigger points, one more recent and then one previously of kind of the, hey, I really need to take control of my health. One was that we had worked from South Africa for 2 years and was living over there. It wasn't a very healthy.
My wife would say, just saying, my wife would love that. She can't wait to like go Europe and just travel and and work remotely. That's chapter 3 with after these 4 kids are gone.
I would love to talk about it. That's something that's super important for us that we do regularly. Actually, about to leave next week, head over to Spain for a month. Awesome. But South Africa, fantastic, especially Cape Town. We've helped plan people's honeymoons there and give them the itinerary. So if you guys do go, I got a full list of what you guys should do. But living there, the work-life balance wasn't great. It was working 12, 14 hours days. Right. And then everybody wanted to kind of party or go, kind of live the luxury life outside of that. And so it was a lot of eating and drinking, not a lot of movement, and then a lot of work, to where coming back, I probably weighed the most I'd ever weighed at that point. It's something that clothes didn't fit well. I realized, having grown up as an athlete my whole life, I did not feel at my best. And that was tough, right? Like especially if you grow up like fit and stuff, you know when you're not, right? And you don't feel like at your peak. And so that was one big case. Came back, and that's actually when I originally did like keto, and lost like 30, 40 pounds, like a month and a half. I loved it. The food tastes good on keto, no denying that. But but realizing it is a balance, especially when you go places that don't have a lot of great options, having to keep track of so much. And and why running and building businesses, which as we came back, that's kind of what we were kicking off, was our very first company. And then more recently, I know we had talked about is maybe like a year and a half ago, had gone to the doctor for my annual check-in. I was like, hey, I know I need to lose weight. And he's like, yeah, you do. And, you know,
Right.
I know it runs in your family with high cholesterol, but you have pretty high cholesterol, like really high cholesterol, that I should put you on a statin. And I said, hey, I
Right.
would love to try natural to reduce that first.
Right.
And he said, thankfully, was a doctor of like, hey, I'm okay with that. We'll just do check-ins every 3 months.
Yeah. And guys listening in, this is that specific instance is where I get so many guys that finally had enough. Nothing's going to change because you're stuck in the rut of
Mm.
living life, of doing business, of and you don't have the skill sets or the time or the ability to do it. And I have so many guys like my clothes finally didn't fit, or I went to the doctor and they had meds and they finally end up reaching out and taking control of their health. And it's really important that that is a very definitive time frame to go left or go right. It's a fork in the road. Are you going to continue head in the sand and just ignore it, hope it goes away, or actually start doing something about it? And I'm really glad that you did something about it.
Yeah, I mean, nothing changes unless something changes, right? Like we will
Yeah.
continue in whatever that trajectory is, right? Like physics, I don't know,
Right.
some sort of math that tells you
Oh,
you
yeah.
keep going, inertia. I don't know. Let me throw
Right.
out some
It's like
high
Albert
school,
Einstein.
some high school like words there or whatever. But it's the same thing. Like, and
Right.
ultimately, I believe, you know, people will continue to the pain is enough to the point where they'll make a change, right? Like it's one thing to ignore, like, I put an extra pound on, whatever. But eventually it's like, okay, I'm either having trouble breathing or like sweating tying my shoe or like I just don't feel great or like, you know, I've had people start mentioning things to me. Whatever it is, when you hit that pain point of like, okay, I really need to make a change, right? And we can
Yeah.
certainly get into what that looks like, hold accountable. That's why I'm a huge believer in coaching. Our business is
Yep.
actually coaching along social media and other stuff, but
Yep.
it's so
We're gonna
so
get there
key.
too.
Absolutely. I know we're going to talk about all of it, but you know, that was a point for me. It's like, hey, I strive to be the best at all the things I do and realize that stuff's balanced, but this has got to be a key part that I put in place, especially for longevity. And why
Right.
work towards things if you're not going to be healthy enough to enjoy life as well?
Yes, I say it's a lot. Says it. Life's a journey, not a destination, and you don't want to get to the end of the rope and be like, "Hey, I should have had more fun. I got all this money or whatever, or I do have poor health." That will be a definitive end for you, as it is with everyone here. But let's like live, die, and have a lot of fun along the way.
I think that's why a lot of us get into this entrepreneurship and building business, because
Right.
we kind of don't ascribe to the maybe the boomer or parents generation of the, hey,
Right.
work 40 years the same company and then retire, maybe get 10 years to enjoy life and then die. And I was like, that doesn't
Right.
sound like a good trade-off. I don't like that deal. I'm going to make a new deal. I'm
Right.
going to run the stuff and balance it. So
Yes, I agree. We are about ready to go to a 7-day cruise up in Alaska
ooh,
here. We
okay.
just got back from Peru for 2 weeks and spring
love it.
break. My wife's going to head out to Ireland. We're going to join her around Thanksgiving. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we got Japan on the list for
Ooh,
spring break
okay.
next year. So, some very exciting places that we're going to really try to live. So, we work hard every day, but we play hard, enjoy life too on the back end.
Did you have any chicha morada or morada? Chicha morada? The purple corn drink is so good.
Yeah.
The spice, so good. It's my favorite thing in Peru.
Oh yeah. We had a blast. One of the coolest things is my last name's Piranha. We were fishing for piranhas in the Amazon. So piranhas fishing piranhas is one of most of my kids really enjoyed it. All 6 of us caught piranhas. They weren't the man-eating looking things, but they were like say bluegills. You could hold them in your hand and then you hold them, look at the camera, and they got their jaws and stuff. But don't get your finger too close. You will bleed if they catch you there. But,
I love it. You're like, if you don't listen to my coaching, I'm gonna stick my piranhas on you, right? So there we go.
Now, so cholesterol was high. You decided to change. We got some. What were some of the things that worked for you? And everyone is different. And that's the beauty of say coaching and the process is that you find what works best for you and that you can maintain. I call it the 2-2-2 rule. What we do in 2 weeks, we should be able to do 2 months and in 2 years, so on and so forth, so that we can continue to sustain whatever process it is. So say like keto. Yeah, that can work, but
Mhm.
people aren't just like on the keto bandwagon. That word is not any remotely as prevalent as it once was. So what has been some effectiveness of that? And then let's talk about some of your other, like your wife and business and stuff too.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, I mean, whatever it is has to be something that's sustainable and easy enough that you can repeat it, right? Like,
Right. Right.
it's tough for me when I go in on things. I'm like all in. I'm obsessive, you know. And maybe that's why
Yeah. Oh yeah. Me
in
too.
entrepreneurship, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna hit the gym 5 times a day
Locked
for 3
in.
hours each time. Like, no, it's like it's not sustainable, especially right
Right.
running business, or if you have
Right.
kids like you do. Like, you know, life's not always predictable and stuff as well. So I was like, okay, what can I do that is easy enough for me to do day in and day out without having to think too hard or is going to be too complex. Like, I love the
Yes.
gym. My wife and I love weights and weightlifting and working out. But, you know, with the way business is balanced, it wasn't something that like, hey, we could repeatably hit those times at the gym ongoing. It's something I would love to add back and probably will and pieces at a time sustainable. But I need something day in and day out, don't have to think about, that is going to
Right.
make that difference. The two biggest things were one, eating. No, you can't out work out a bad diet, right?
Right.
And
Of
it wasn't
course.
that I necessarily had a terrible diet. It's just the way that I was consuming calories and it was eating too much, right? And it
Right.
wasn't something I was thinking about purposely paying attention to. Now I could, hey, I'm gonna eat very specific types of food. I'm gonna measure my stuff out and do all that, but I also knew sustainability wise that might
Sure.
work for the week or two, and then I would get a little lax on it or just not have time. I don't have my you know, scale with me. And so I was like, okay, what's easy enough for me to do? And what I had done years ago and I actually loved and felt really good doing, and also fit where I'm busy in the mornings and afternoons and lifestyle, was one meal a day. So
Mhm.
I went back to doing just one meal dinner in the evenings, and you know, I'll just have some coffee and water throughout the day and then dinner in the evenings, to where didn't have to really think about what I was eating as much because I was just consuming one meal. And just that alone started making a pretty significant difference in me starting to drop weight and my health
Right.
get better. And then I wanted to add one fitness thing in, even if it was simple, and that was for going for morning walks. And so we'd
Yes.
wake up, walk around the neighborhood. It's Florida, so it's kind of like a little safari of all the different crazy wildlife, including
Yeah.
the pond has a gator. I've yet to see the
Alligators.
gator. I've yet to see the gator, but the pond
Oh,
apparently has a gator in it near us.
okay. Okay.
And
Yeah,
so, and
alligators.
those two things, I mean, made a pretty significant difference. I mean, it was also nice to get
Yeah.
out and breathe fresh air and do
Spend
everything.
time
But
with your lady.
yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, kick off the day before we both go into the office.
Right.
But it was something that was repeatable, something we could both do, something that she enjoyed doing those walks too. So it's great when both you and
Right.
someone else enjoys it. Hey, let's go for the walk. Okay, I don't really feel like it, but you said it, so let's do it. So kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
balance each other a little bit, and then the one meal a day for the food.
Right.
Because three people in the household all have kind of vastly different what we can eat, what we can do. And so like just being like, hey, all the food needs to be on my particular diet. That's a lot more challenging than hey,
Right.
I just eat one meal a day. That way, whatever is for dinner, I can do.
Yeah. 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 Now, the premise of why it worked, we are increasing activity,
Hmm.
decreasing calories. That's it.
Hmm.
It's a math
Hmm.
equation here, and that's why I work, people. So,
Not
um,
calculus. It's straightforward
yeah,
math enough. Anybody can do it.
addition and subtraction. That's about it. I like to simple is easy, easy gets done, and the everyday life that we live is complex enough that we don't need food, we don't need everything else stacking up on our calendar and stuff to make it more challenging than it needs to be. So just constantly, and anytime that I'm coaching, right, we go back to accountability and support. What are the things that I can get this person to do on a consistent, reliable basis and get
Hmm.
them to be easier over time and more repetitive behaviors, and providing that structure so that they do it? Because everyone knows what to do, but they're not doing those things, right? Generally eat less, move more. So just find these pathways to do it.
Yeah.
Now, good.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I mean, you can always as that becomes ingrained into your life, you can continue adding to that, or getting, okay, now I can add the gym back in, or now I do want to add in tracking certain
Right.
macros, or
Right.
getting, my creatine in it, whatever that is. But
Right.
it's one step at a time. If you can't put something where you're consistent over months, over a year, then it doesn't really do
Yeah.
too much good to be crazy healthy and do all your things for a few weeks or a few months and then
Right.
just go right back to where you were.
Right. It's building momentum, then you can add on. I had two guys join my Call to Rise 100-day fat loss challenge this week, and they started technically Sundays is when it starts, just the programming and everything in my app. But they signed up earlier in the week, so they get bonus time. So listening in, if you schedule a call and you get booked on and sign up on a Monday, you get 6 extra days. So 106 days of Brian. You'll get a lot of Brian, just as Eric did yesterday on our first call. He's like, "All right, I took way too many notes, my hands cramping." But the premise is one of the guys was going away for an all day meeting, and I basically the premise he was just trying to just like go all in and whatever. It's like, can you just make better choices than you did in the last time you were in this situation? And we did. He was texting me. He ended up going to Whole Foods. He sent me a picture of
Mm,
what he ended up eating. He told me we were game planning it before he got there. So he got this fish, some rice, some garbanzo beans, heavy amounts of vegetables. It was plenty of flavor and deliciousness. It is way better than the Subway sandwich, cookie, and a chip bag of chips that he was going to alternatively get after. And it was like the tuna sub or something. Like, hey, FYI, there's a crazy amount of fat in the tuna sub at Subway. Just an FYI, if that's your go-to one, please check their website so you make an informed decision about how much more fat calories you get over protein because of the mayo. Just FYI there. Just do something better.
do something better. And then, like, I think putting things in place that, like, striving for perfection is always going to be a disappointing outcome, but something to
Mm-hmm.
where, hey, as things pop up, like if, hey, a client wants, take us out to like a meal right now to celebrate something because they just popped by the office and are in town. Well, yeah, it might be normally doing the one meal a day, but for that, like, hey, I'll hop in, I'll do the meal with you maybe, or something there. But always being able to come back to the default. Okay, what's my default? My default's one
Right.
meal a day, and that's just my default. And like, hey, if I have
Right.
days or weekends out with friends or something that they came in town, especially once a year, something cool, but then I'm back to my default. I think that's a thing versus like, oh, I missed a day or missed a few days. I give up.
Right.
Done. Right. Versus being able to
Right.
come back to that default.
Get back on a Monday. Good thing today's a Monday. I can just start over
Hmm.
in 6 or 7 days here. Yeah. So, okay, excellent. I'd love to kind of talk about some family life and stuff.
Yeah.
One of the unique reasons why you caught my attention to bring on is obviously the business stuff that you do, but you're high school sweethearts with
Hmm.
Ellie, and let's talk about some of that and some of how that has been a part of obviously a very long life. I'm 43, my wife's 43, and I've known her since I was 11. And we were high school. We dated our senior year, and 20 years of marriage, 4 kids later. So I totally resonate with that story. So tell me a little bit about your relationship and stuff, and how it
Yeah.
all is. Obviously, it's a huge part because you guys are
Hmm.
in business together too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we started dating at 16 in high school. I think it was
Very
right
cool.
as we were going into actually summer right before junior year. And date all throughout high school, was class couple, and we're like, we're gonna prove him wrong.
Yeah.
And even in college, kind of 2 years long distance, but we're both originally from Atlanta. I went to Georgia Tech, and she went to school for 2 years outside of state in South Carolina, and then came back to Atlanta and finished school at SCAD there. And we had been dating for 5 years at that point. I was working for a company, and we were like to our parents, "Hey, we want to get married for senior year of college." So we did. Got married at 21, right before we started senior year. A
Yeah.
whole bunch of stories right after, especially, I mean, even from honeymoon of essentially getting fired on honeymoon, and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I mean, from there, ended up traveling, living in South Africa for a couple of years for a company I was working for before coming back and starting our own businesses. And for the last like 12 years, have been running our own companies together, working together. So yeah,
Yeah.
we live together, we work together, we travel together, get to live life and run business with my best friend. And so
Yeah.
absolutely a blast.
Yeah, I feel that too. My wife has two businesses. One's a little more predominant than the other, but they both center around travel.
Mhm.
Travel advisor, so she sends people on epic bucket list style trips all over the world. So hence why we're going all over the world.
I love
She's
it.
not only learning, but she's experiencing and
Business research trips,
producing.
right?
Yes,
Exactly. Yeah. Write
exactly,
that
right.
tax off, right? Yeah, absolutely.
I She's been to Italy more times in the last 3 or 4 years that I think she's just even been out of state, Ohio. But
I love it.
but yeah, being there to support your spouse, your partner through all the ups, the downs, the challenges, the happiness, the celebrations is so important to be able to do that, and it's very very cool to just participate and see the wins and help where you can.
And to help each other in your own health journeys too, even though like
Right.
my spouse is kind of the opposite body type as me, and initiatives and stuff around that, and very much like foods. It's kind of interesting. I would say like, oh, gluten, some other things kind of affect, but it's really foods inside the US. So like
Yeah,
the
right. You've
bread,
been out enough.
like the bread here and other stuff just can't eat, and and it's like
Right.
absolutely hurts her. And then we'll go to like Italy and or outside the US and have pasta, and it's fine, right? And it's like, okay,
Right.
there's something little up here with our food
Yeah.
and what's gone into it or into the soils
Uh-huh.
and stuff. It's just it's crazy. It's just so much more
It's
freeing outside
unfortunate.
the
How
US
about
of
that?
it
It's
is unfortunate.
unfortunate.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
um something to keep in mind. But yeah, having someone to
Right.
help kind of push and you guys hold each other
Right.
accountable to your own health journeys is big too.
Oh, definitely. We're always up to go for a walk.
Mhm.
She doesn't necessarily work out. She says I work out for both of us,
There you go.
enough for the
Yeah.
both of us,
That's a
which
thing.
is fine. So I strength train with my buddies, and then we spend a lot of time walking and hiking with the dog. We have a Newfie, and he's a giant 140 pounds at this point or something. Some massive dog, but
That's
we
big as
go out
my
and walk and
Ridgebacks.
spend time. Yeah, I always say this: you walk and talk with your spouse, because one of you likes to talk more than the other, and it's a great time to get your steps in. So me, I have to always remember to just listen, Brian.
Mm,
Just listen, get your steps, enjoy just being around her, and don't give her any input. Don't coach. Don't give her
mm.
solutions. She's smarter than me, so just let her clear her head and find the solutions herself. Oh,
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's good talking time. Good, it's good to be moving while talking and get outside. Now, you might have to time it slightly different depending on the time of year. It is
right.
like 100,000 degrees right now in
Yeah.
the middle of summer in
Uh-huh.
Florida. Feels like a swimming pool when you step
Oh,
outside. So I'm like,
yes.
okay, early mornings and in the evening, later in the
Yep.
evenings are great times to
It's
be
like
outside.
after
Middle of the
9
day.
p.m., please.
Yeah.
Yep. Excellent. Now, let's lead into how you both do business together
Mm,
and what's important in your world with coaching people, with guiding them in this through authenticity in an AI driven world. And you and I both know, I don't know, I'm sure you feel it. I feel it too with AI showing up. It's just everything is faster. Like the pace has
yep.
quickened. Like it's like if you're not sprinting 24/7, you definitely feel like you're behind. Or if you're not on the latest AI trend thing, then you feel behind again. But again, if you're even aware of AI, you're probably still ahead of most of the masses in a sense. But yeah, let's jump in. How
Yeah.
does this how does this show up for you and your
Mhm.
business and everything?
Yeah, it shows a lot. I mean, we've had our business for a really really long time, and we've been specialized to our niche over the last 8 years. We've worked with a lot of insurance agents and agencies. That's very much a niche. We worked with all kinds of industries prior to that, and probably will start opening up to even more. But that's been the niche we've been focused
Right.
on, and we've had our strategies we've taught, and AI just has allowed us to make those even easier and
Sure.
faster
Right.
for our clients and what we teach them. I mean, AI is an amazing tool when brought
Cool.
in to either make things faster, smoother, fit within processes or strategies or things that you already have. It's not such a great tool for replacement of a human. It's not great on a lot of the interpersonal and a lot of that human connection. And something that I know we'll
Right.
talk about a good bit more is how individual consumer and generational behaviors change a bit, right? Like with the rise of AI and AI content, it's not that really the amount of content can put out. Like you can easily put out a whole bunch of AI content. In fact, it already
Right.
is. And now it's becoming okay, what's not only good quality, but what's real? Like,
Right.
who is that really them talking? Is this a real person? Where can I put my trust? Who I listen to, who I want to be coached by? All those things is what's real, right? Especially if you start getting to older demographics, I don't want to be tricked. If you're tricked, I feel not that's not real or not authentic.
Yes.
You're dead to me. I'm not doing any business with you. And then even younger generations, it's like I want what's authentic, what's real. I don't want perfection. I want things with the stakes. And that's why even some of the like talking head content creators are starting to move a little bit away just from talking head because it's so easy to fake with AI. If it's me on a
Right.
walk and pulling up my phone or talking to someone or stuff there, then it's a lot more authentic, real. They messed up a word. They said that wasn't perfect. It's like, okay, that's real
Right.
as well. So, I mean, I very much talk about like leaning AI into tools and help us do more and remove some of the repetitive things or help with our creative thinking a little bit. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, we still are the brand. We are who's in
Right.
front of people. We're the ones building the trust. That's who people have conversations, connect with. And so that's what we really lean into also for our clients is they're doing that with their audiences using social media as well.
Yeah, definitely. It is important in this day and age to show up as authentic as possible, and it's one of the biggest reasons why I even did the podcast. Started is I need to talk out, and I had been posting once a day, every day, and it just didn't seem to be going anywhere. And talking and creating long form content has allowed people to get to know, like, and trust me because of the 7-Eleven and all that stuff that you have to do for touch points in terms of building trust with someone. So if they can actually hear my real voice and go through the process of the 132 episodes here that are there, then they can see if they like what I have to offer, if I can actually help them and start to believe that trust and move toward me or toward a decision of taking responsibility for their health. And that's important because I can't work with anyone that's not ready to change. It doesn't, it's not it.
and and I'm sure it's not going through 132 episodes. In
No.
reality, it's part of one or even one that's like,
Right.
okay, this is who I need to reach out and touch base with, because we all talk about like who we feel connected to or trust. If it's someone
Right.
I've heard someone mention a name, okay, I'm aware they exist. If I've seen a picture of them or they've popped up on social where I've seen a picture, okay, I've seen what they look like, and
Right.
maybe that's now feel a little more trust or connected. Now I've actually heard them talk or train or teach on something. Okay, now I know what they're about, their personality and
Right.
everything there too. So by you doing long form and podcasts and or those that are listening, being able to like, put out video or content, even if it's like just a simple one, that's what really people can hear you, can see you, and helps build that trust, or in your case, like authority as well with the podcast and stuff as well. Because at the end of the day, people connect, it's relational, it's and that's also what builds trust. So them being able to hear you go through these podcast episodes, teach, it's almost a preview of what would it like to be coached by Brian and what he can help
Right.
with and that knowledge, and it's what takes people across the stepping stones to, yeah, I'd love to work with you as a part of that. So we live in a cool age where we can get in front of hundreds, thousands of
Yeah.
thousands of people just through social media and not have to be
Right.
like, well, I need a couple $1 million to run a TV commercial. So,
Right. Yeah, we do not need that. Can't afford that. 4 kids and the grocery budget. Yeah, not doing Super Bowl commercials anytime soon. Right.
yeah, we'll leave those for the beer companies. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Right. Now, when as you're coaching someone, who is it that you end up? uh, who's the ideal client? They come in, like even before they come in, who is that person that you help to connect with others, to grow their social media presence, to grow their business, and then kind of walk through a client journey of how you create the experience and the coaching experience, accountability, and the deliverables for Jumpstart Go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so our core audience is like insurance agents and agencies. Can really take any business owner, entrepreneur, and replace it
Right.
with that. But that's our core niche,
Right.
which is kind of part of the process. And I'll talk about is like target audience, like know your
Right.
target audience, who you're talking to, and
I can help
who you work
anyone,
with.
but we
Yeah,
talk
that's
about 40
terrible. Though I
plus
can help
old men here.
anybody if they have a pulse. They're my audience or
Yes.
client, and it's like, okay, you're gonna help nobody. That's the
Yeah.
jack of all
Hmm.
trades, master of none. Like, oh, why
Hmm.
don't I get any referrals? Like, who do I refer you? You didn't like specify anything, right?
Right.
So, and it makes it especially tough when it comes to social, which I'll talk about in a second as well. But take that audience now. Pain points, whether they're brand new or established, like, is I need my target audience knowing I exist and me connecting with them so I can help them with a policy, for example, or whatever it
Right.
is I'm selling, right? And so I need client acquisition, right? Sales is a part of
Right.
that, but I could be amazing at sales, and if I have nobody to talk to, it doesn't do me any good, right? So
Right.
marketing, client acquisition is a piece of that. And so from the industry we're primarily focused on, the insurance one, it's a very old industry, very slow to change. It's been around
Hmm.
forever. There's a lot of industries like that, but they they don't like to adapt to things very quickly. Now, technology's made them start adapting quicker, but in general,
Right.
they still, if you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, things like that, they're still on they call it smiling and dialing days.
Yeah.
I call it,
Smile dial. Let's print out the paperwork and
yep,
fill it out by hand.
buy a bunch of old leads and other stuff. Let's call numbers all day long. Go do hundreds of thousand dial a day or whatever and
Right.
stuff. They
Right.
call it smile and dial. I call it frown and drown because that's more likely the faces they're
Right.
making. Um,
I've tried doing just calling or outreaching or DMing, and it gets sad. It is
it is.
drowning and frowning and drowning.
It's
That's for sure. Because you're just like, this is awful.
it's almost like a spray and pray method
Yeah.
of marketing, growing your business, which doesn't work very effectively or well, especially if you
No.
care
A
about your
lot of
time,
work.
you don't
Yeah.
like rejection all day, and you want to be more efficient too. It's like, okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense where it'd be one thing if I was at least on the phone and talking to people all day long and connecting with a few people that might listen and hear what I want to say. But in reality, most days spent listening to ringtones or the dial tones or
Right.
voicemails because
Right.
stuff isn't getting picked up. Contact
Right.
rates are dropping. There's so many
They're probably not
anti-spam,
even using
anti-call.
Power Dialer or all that other more
No,
advanced marketing things. So they're literally like,
numbers
doot, doot,
numbers
doot,
getting
doot.
flagged. I mean,
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
it's just not a super
Uh-huh.
efficient way of growing, and they know
Right.
this, right? Like it's very
Right.
transactional, and they're also
Right.
realizing
Right.
like, hey, this in pretty much all business relational. Transactional just
Right.
ends up with people like canceling policies and me getting charged back money, me having to constantly find new people. I'm not getting referrals because they don't even remember my
Mhm.
name because it's all transactional versus relational. And so when
Right.
I talk to these agents, or in once again, substitute any business owner, like, what do you want? Well, I want people coming to me who already know who I am, see me as an authority, already ready to have a conversation. They're excited about it. I don't want to go chasing down people who don't what I have, don't want to talk about it, see me as spam, and don't trust me.
Right.
It's like,
You're the direct TV marketer sales guy that's in Sam's Club chasing everyone down.
exactly.
Like
Like I don't want to
nobody's
chase
using
people
satellite,
down.
man.
It's not only a waste of time, but it feels terrible too, or
Yes.
ever. And
For
like
both parties involved.
it's just not efficient. And at the end of the day, like they're like, okay, yeah, I want these hot, warm, almost referral quality or referrals coming through.
Right.
Fantastic. And it's like, what do you do all day? Well, I do the opposite. I literally try to transact and no trust. And it's like,
Right.
okay, that those are two opposite things that don't align. It's not magically one day going to swap to what you want. And so that's
Right.
where we really lean into, okay, how do I achieve that? How do I have people know who I am? How do I have my personal brand? But how do I go beyond just posting and hoping people see it and reach out to me to where it is like actions I can take to make those conversations happen, to turn into sales and referral partner relationships and all these things. And that's really what we focus on, is how do I use social media to get in front of my target audience, connect with referral partners, drive all this business through to me, who already knows who I am, sees me in
Right.
authority, and I don't have to do paid leads or paid ads. This is a business that's
Yeah.
coming inbound to me and my team, off of that. And that's what we really
Those
focus on, is helping them
paid
get away from
ads
those
and leads
things.
is not
Exactly.
fun
And like
either.
infinite ROI. Like, if with ads and paid leads, you're just renting. You're just renting, and then you just got to go re-rent again and re-rent again.
Right.
It cuts out your
Right.
profit margins, and it
Very
just
much
feels
so.
like, man, I'm a
There's a
hamster wheel.
science to it too.
Yeah.
There's a science both ways, but when we go back to authenticity, we're building relationships with people to then referral partners and stuff to build that know, like, and trust. So it's a self-serving circle of influence and business that works for you long term. Whereas you bought the leads, you dialed the leads, you DM people, you just and it ended up going nowhere, and you got to do it again.
It's a modern application, like, because marketing principles, sales principles, they don't change. They've been the same over time. The application
Right.
of them and how we go about, or technology we use, has changed over time.
Right.
So if we go to like pre-internet, like, how did someone build and establish their business? They went out into their area, into their town, they connected with other businesses, formed referral relationships, did events, or things together. They sponsored nonprofits that were involved in school systems, maybe chamber of commerce, city council. They went to different meetings. They become the go-to for whatever it is they did. Like, Brian is the fitness health coach in the air. Everybody goes to him. It's hard for
Right.
anybody to compete, because everybody knows Brian is like the long established best person here, and
Right.
business just comes to you every day. And it's like, okay, that's fantastic. And now we can literally use social media to replicate that exact same thing. I can go where the crowds are already gathered, where they're already segmented
Right.
into Facebook groups, just like they would be doing different meetings in local area in person. And I can make these connections without even having to leave my house or get out of my pajamas if I don't want to, off of this. And I can do this all over the country, not even just my local area.
Right.
So it's the same principles. It's just now shifted to being a lot more efficient, a lot more ability to get in front of people and form these relationships and connections. It's just, how do I do it in a manner that works on social?
Mhm. So how do we do that outside of not moving away from talking heads and
Yeah.
showing up as an authentic version of yourself?
And it's not necessarily like the specific type of content, or reel, a story, a talking head, the format. I'll give a couple. I'll give it like some pieces with that. The very first thing we already talked about is know your target audience, because
Right.
that affects everything. And don't
Right.
focus just on demographics. Demographics is a piece, right? I know what I sell. And so I know, who maybe an age range or location or income value or income that would be good fits. But then going beyond that, of, okay, what are their fears, what are their concerns, where do they hang out, what do they enjoy, and I can even tie those to things that tie to me, right? Like, maybe I sell a certain type of insurance that's for seniors, right? They're
Hmm.
65 or plus, right? And so I know, okay, my age range is going to be 55 or 65 plus, somewhere in there. Fantastic. But then maybe I'm also really big into like fitness or pickleball, right? Well, I can tie that to seniors, because they're also into staying healthy or fitness for my target audience, right? That's who I want to go after, which makes it easier for me to write insurance policies for them. Cool. And so I can end up leveraging things like pickleball Facebook groups and pickleball coaches, or Silver
Hmm.
Sneakers, which is like a free fitness program for people on Medicare.
Right.
And I can end up having these communities come through to me and connect with those communities on social, of things I already enjoy and am doing in my life. I don't have to create new hobbies or change my personality. I can lean
Hmm.
into those and tie it to my target audience. So knowing your target audience is key. And so that tells me, where do they hang out, where can I find them, what are their concerns, also what referral partners are going to be best for me. Someone that just works with new parents with toddlers may not be the best fit if I work with
Yeah. Yeah.
seniors, but someone that runs, maybe if I do life insurance and they just do Medicare for seniors, so that could be a great fit. Or if they are involved with the senior fitness center or anything like that, there's all kinds of things that could be great referral partners there. So know your target audience plays a factor in everything, because if I don't know who I'm trying to get, then that's going to make it really hard to get those people. So
Right.
target audience. And then social media, yeah, there's a lot of platforms out there. What I
Yeah.
typically, really talk to our clients about, which insurance spans a lot of age ranges. I've got some even 80 and 83-year-old clients
All
on that
right. All
side.
right.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's cool.
I find that a lot of people have maybe a little hesitancy about social, maybe a little fear, a little bit putting themselves out there.
Right.
And so I
It's a
really
big
want
one.
to give them recommendations on what they can do that's going to be the easiest, fastest, and simplest for them. And there's a lot
Right.
of platforms, but insurance agents, they're trying to grow their business, and which we're talking about here, versus being an
Right.
influencer like a Kardashian or something like that, where I'm getting paid off by however many
They're not
eyeballs I
looking
can get.
for view count or likes
No,
or
exactly. It's not
followers.
not about going viral and view counts like an
Right.
influencer. That's a whole different route
Right.
and strategies. I want to do this to grow my business. I want to grow my insurance business, for example. So me having a whole bunch of people in Russia watching my videos isn't going to help me too much because I can't write them
Mm,
insurance policies. I want the right
right.
audience coming through.
Right.
And I want to do it in a way that's sustainable. Coming back to the fitness side, if it's something that
Right.
isn't sustainable, then I'm not going to be able to keep doing it. So, like if I told our clients, hey, let's go leverage TikTok, TikTok's a great platform. Well, unless they're really committed and able to do 4 videos every single day and publish them, then that's probably
Right.
not the platform for them. And honestly, most of my clients would rather murder me than do that. It's they don't want to be full time
Why would
content
you
creators.
recommend
It's
this to
it's
me?
not it's not what
This
they want to do. Like, and I know they're not
right.
going to do it sustainable. So what's the point? I want them to get
Right.
results. So we actually lean to Facebook. Is it the
Mm,
sexiest, most fun, amazing platform? No, heck no. I mean, listen, I don't even really like it, but it's so good for business and for these things.
right.
And it's the easiest because it takes the least amount of content also. Then it's something they can sustainably do, easily fit within their day, not something that takes hours for them to implement. And
Mhm.
so it's like, I know they
Right.
can do
Even
this
the
and
content
get results.
strategy of
Yeah.
Facebook is a bit different than TikTok or
Hmm.
Instagram
Totally
because
different. Yeah.
my wife spends her time on Facebook primarily and growing a Facebook group,
Yep.
which she doesn't do any video at all. She hates it and she's just never going to do it. So she will do pictures, but she is very good at written word, and so she can express herself in a much more aligned way, and that's be the singular point. And then she has
Hmm.
Instagram. I'm over here. I got, you can find me on, I don't know, 7 different platforms or something, posting everywhere and everything. And I guess it works. I don't know. I like the podcast thing, but you got to promote it or no one will listen to it, right?
and
So
and like I said, there's many ways to grow a business. Each social
right.
has its advantages and disadvantages
Right.
for our audience and for a lot of business
Right.
owners. I want to keep it easiest, most effective, and as they scale and grow, I'm a big proponent of them focusing on a single platform until they're at
Right.
least doing 1 million from it, and then expanding maybe to a second. Because each platform, like you
Right.
said, works differently. It's like trying to start two separate
Hmm.
businesses to do two separate platforms versus focusing on one and scaling and growing. And another unique advantage of Facebook, for example, is Facebook groups, like you just mentioned. TikTok doesn't
Right.
have TikTok groups. I can't go just get a group of people together on TikTok and chat and get in
Right.
conversations and sales
Build
conversations off there,
relationships.
but
Yep.
I can on Facebook. And
Right.
so that's a big thing, is the platform and knowing that my target audience, fantastic. Another thing is the platforms maybe work differently than they think they do. And understanding how the tool works I want to use keeps me from fighting against it and wasting a bunch of
Mm,
time and energy versus
yeah.
actually using it with less time for more results. And that's where I got to understand why it's built the way it is. Facebook's a business, it's built to make money. It makes money through ads. And so a lot of people, hey, personal profile, I do my personal, and a business page is where I do my business. But in reality, that makes no sense because if I'm
Mhm.
doing organic content on the business page, they have no incentive for people to they'll see that and come to me because they want me to pay for ads. They'd go out of
Right.
business if I could do that effectively. So they
Right.
limit reach to usually 1% or less. Meaning, if I've got 1,000 people following that business page, I'm lucky if 10 people see it. So it's really
Right.
waste of time really doing any organic really on a business page because no one's going to see it. It's like having a Michelin star restaurant in the middle of the desert. Doesn't matter. The food's
Right.
amazing if no one knows it's there. So the
Right.
personal profiles actually what you want to use and leverage because Facebook actually wants to push that and connect and put content out and everything with the personal because the longer they stay on the platform, the more ads they can serve, the more money they make. So a lot of people are fighting against it, spending a lot of time and energy, maybe even doing great content, but nobody's seeing that or coming through because they're fighting the system than versus knowing how the tool actually works. And
Right.
Yeah, and then extended from there, the types of content we're doing, how's that fit with our target audience? How do I grow and scale that audience? Facebook groups, how do I move those into conversations and DM to appointments for sales or referral partner relationships? All that plays into it, but those are some of the key initial parts is using your personal profile, knowing your audience and knowing what platform I'm going to use and leverage, and then going from there. If you don't have those things initially, then it's going to be really hard even if you create a whole bunch of content.
Right, definitely. And you'll get on the content hamster wheel and never get any fruit of thy labor from it. And the
Yeah.
outline that you're sharing does work for any solopreneur,
Mhm.
entrepreneur, business owner, whether it's online, brick and mortar, selling things,
Mhm.
products, services, whatever. This is the general approach that you need to do to be able to then create those conversations, which is where the magic happens, anyways, because
Yep.
then you build that know, like, and trust and that proximity to that person to be able to then offer them help. At the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do. They have a problem, you have a solution. Is it a good fit? And if it is, then you'll make money. You'll be able to offer them your services and
At
it'll
the
feel
end,
good.
yeah, you gotta feel good with what you're doing if you want to keep doing it and do it for a long period of time. Like
Right.
I mean, I felt the most freed ever when I hopped out of corporate or ever because I didn't like what I was doing. I didn't
Right.
enjoy it. It felt soul sucking, especially once I
Right.
knew I was going to be hopping out of that and running businesses. Every single day felt worse and worse. That's kind of the thing. Like
Oh,
you accept it
right.
until you know that that's not the reality or what you have to be doing, and then all of a sudden all those things that you just kind of accepted start popping up, or like, oh, this is terrible. Why I can't believe I did this for so long. And
Right.
that was that transition. But I mean, it's you got to enjoy it, and at the end of the day, like, keep in mind what's the goal with what I'm doing for my marketing is I want to get into conversations with people I can help, right? So
Yep.
whatever I'm doing, whether that's podcast and me educating them, people reaching out to me from that, forming referral partner relationships who connect me with people who need my help because they're already working with them and they can pass that trust off to me. Whether it's social media, heck, even calling, which was the most direct way initially of getting in conversation, except now no one answers and no one calls are getting screened or blocked or there's no trust
Hmm.
there. Now I've got to, like, okay, how do I have this trust and get in front to then get to those conversations? And for me, social media is one of the most powerful ways of doing that, that I love teaching of how do I get to these qualified conversations with my
Right.
audience referral partners through social. So lots of ways to do it. But at the end of the day, if you're not getting in conversations, then you need to take a look at what you're doing for marketing, because that's really the whole point, is to get to these conversations.
Right. Help someone.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what's why,
And
why
that-
we do our businesses. We want to help people, right? Like
Mhm.
if you talk about fitness and health and by running your business all day long, but no one listens and no one goes and does it, then it's like, I can give advice or input all day, but people got to put it in place so they can get results. And when they're winning and they're healthy, or they're succeeding in their business, that's rewarding. That feels good, not only
Right.
to us helping them, but to them. That's their goals. That's their life. And so, yeah, it's powerful being able to help people.
That's the best part of what I do is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
outcomes. I'd have to imagine for you too is the
Mhm.
outcomes of doing the actions that your clients get to see. So on my end, we see a lot more confidence, a lot more energy showing up in their
Mhm.
everyday life so that they start doing things that they would not do. And for some, it's better connecting with their partner, spouse, their kids. Others, it's better connecting at work, and all of a sudden they're getting promotions or they're running their business more focused, proficient, efficient to make more money. I've seen it so many different ways where the fruits of the labor, of the effort of losing weight and getting in better health has a just like it's a rocket ship trajectory
Mm.
to a different planet in a sense of where they would have been if they would have just stayed stuck. I've had and this one client, the guy moved from upstate New York down to Myrtle Beach, and because he lost 50 pounds, that was the preemptor of doing it. He was locked into his career, had a spouse, and just doing the normal everyday thing, and just like get up, go to work, go home, just all that stuff. It's like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And now he takes long walks on the beach on the weekends, and it's more of his happy place, and he's around family too, which is really really cool. But it was because he had enough of where he was at, and he had to unstuck. So what are some of the things that you see once the people start taking action on creating
Mm.
conversations, on showing up authentic? Like, what is the outcome that you've seen from stories of people and such?
So, I mean, a big thing, like off the bat, especially as they push past some of these initial fears. Maybe they've never touched social, they're fearful.
Right.
80% of people come to me immediately. I'm not a social media person. And I was like, well, before I ever, played baseball or basketball, I wasn't a basketball or baseball person. Like, it's a skill
Right.
set, it's something new you
Right.
have to learn. No one starts off like, I've never touched social, but I'm a social person. Like, it's
Right.
something there. So a big piece is confidence right off the bat is, as people I post or I start taking action and realize, oh, people are actually positive about this. Oh, I haven't seen this person in years and they're congratulating me on this or commenting and put,
Right.
okay, this is nice. I thought people would be like, oh, your hair's terrible. What happened to your nose or whatever? Like, oh my, no, it's like people are actually, especially
Nice.
organic, nice and
Right.
encouraging
Right.
versus, ad
I
ad
see
comments are a whole
you.
different thing.
Yeah.
But
Oh
but
yeah.
but but organic social, absolutely. And they realize, oh,
Mhm.
actually, this is not so bad. I like that people are paying attention. I didn't think anybody would care what
Right.
I posted, and so confidence initially, but then coming from that is, yeah, increased business coming to them, not actually enjoying what they're doing each day because it ties into the type of content they're creating, to the people they're helping and servicing and writing, and growing their business and sales is a big thing, of course, and then that also by removing 14 hours a day of dialing, now freeing up time with social to accomplish a lot
Mhm.
more in a lot less time. Yeah, more time with their family, more time to do their health, their walks, their gym. Their
Mhm.
spouses and kids get to see them more, which is part of the reason they're doing what they're doing in the first place. I'd like to
Right.
spend more time with my family. Well, can I adjust my business to do so? Yes. And so, that's some like the short term. And the long term, they end up like, I'm actually having a lot of fun with this. I enjoy this. It's my favorite way of acquiring stuff. Now I have visions of, oh, I think I want to start a podcast, or I'm actually hosting conferences now because I'm an
Mhm.
authority that people want to come to this conference or this webinar or seminar. So it just opens up a world of opportunities. And we've had people even take this to shift into things that were even more aligned with their vision and dreams. I remember a client who
Right.
was doing life insurance and he tripled his business, and a few months of putting this stuff in place, that was great. But his whole passion, he was in Chicago, was like, what I really really want to do is I really wanted to run food trucks with my family or ever and
Okay.
stuff. And so he started up a food truck business called Tacos, Takozz, funny. And Elle
Nice.
actually, my spouse actually helped him with the design for the wrapping the food trucks and used the social media
Yeah.
strategies that kicked off and launched it. Got so popular, he now has two food trucks and a brick and mortar restaurant all in Chicago,
Nice.
runs everything there, doesn't do insurance anymore. He's had that taken off and
Right.
just uses social media for it. Same strategies, different business, but
Right.
something he
Right.
gets to do with his spouse and kids all run that business together. He's living the time of his life, right? And that was
Yeah.
something I was going to point out. We live in a day and age where we have never had this much freedom to craft our lives and our businesses to
Right.
what we want, whether that's time
Right.
with our families and our local communities and volunteering and living the best lives there,
Right.
or whether it's
Real
traveling
quick
around the
on the
world. Yeah,
volunteering is that you can't volunteer your time if you're worried about how you're paying your bills. You
correct. Yeah,
can't, like, if you're time strapped, you're working all day or any of this, you do not have time to take care of yourself or do other things. And so
you end
that
up
just
in a
popped up.
rat race or a little bit,
Yes.
right? And
Right.
also the help and support, like previously, like, oh, I need team, well, I got to go find and hire, I got to be able to afford 50 30 50,000 to pay them a salary, all these things,
Right.
and to do
Right.
this, and even basic things I need help with and stuff. And to really now, like, there's so much ability between both location independent and virtual work, but also leveraging like virtual assistants to be able to take
Right.
over a lot of these areas, usually at like $4 or $5 an hour. We have 9 full-time virtual assistants helping with different areas of the business. Like, it's
Mhm.
never been easier to leverage your time with technology and AI and like virtual assistants and stuff,
Right.
to be able to do more with less time and effort. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, it's a cool age we live in. I mean, can you imagine like 20, 30 years of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go work from Spain this month where I run my business and manage my team, and then I'm gonna come back, and
Right.
then I'm gonna go to a conference in Peru, and then my it's but you can today. Like,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. 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 It is so awesome. Yeah. Even my wife is doing exactly what you're doing or talking about, is that she wasn't on social, very personal, started putting herself out there, and everyone in our sphere of circle, right, this is social network, friends, family, and all this stuff, they understand that we travel a lot because we've been doing it for 10 plus years of
Hmm.
heavy going somewhere all the time. So it's her DNA. That's how people know her. Like, oh, where are you going next? Where are you go? Literally, that's when we see friends or acquaintances. Like, so where did you go? Where are you going next? And I've just seen it. And she ended up growing a Facebook group and just literally just being diligent with posting every day and creating connections. That she has a women's only Puya trip in October 27th, and she sold it out. Basically, launch day, it was 10 of 11 spots sold out, and it wasn't the cheapest experience to go on, but it's a trip that these
Hmm.
women have never been on because of her skill sets and demand and capacity over the years of acquiring this travel skill. And she sold it, and then the next spot went within under 24 hours of launching. And so it was just so awesome to see this fruition, and just people just are referring her and
Hmm.
clients, and they keep coming back because they know, like, and trust her. And it shows, like, every once in a while in travel, things don't always go, you don't go from point A to point B and it's
No.
seamless. And so she ends up being the savior all the time.
Hmm.
And it's really cool to see her do this. It's like that, maybe I need to start working for you here, especially as we get to part three, because I want to go places. I don't want to just stay at home and watch the cats. In a sense.
Someone's got to watch the cats, but once again,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's probably someone we can bring someone in to watch the cats while you
yeah.
travel, right? So
Yeah, but going away to Spain for a month would totally be the thing for her, for sure. So pretty cool, pretty cool. It's awesome that you're able to help people shift, like the taco
mhm.
truck guy. Like, that's a reality in our world today, and it just starts with deciding to do something different, showing up as yourself so that people gain that know, like, and trust. And we don't have to rely on AI running your whole business or whatever. You can show up as you, and we can leverage things. That's important. Time leverage is very important. And if you're a good business owner, you run an efficient business that can allow for that, so that you can show up in your zone of genius and not just doing every single thing in the background and just burn out, because that's not helping anyone either. Very cool.
Absolutely. I mean, balance is key. I mean, am I someone who believes that every day and periods of our lives are like balance? It's never like
No.
balance as in things
Agreed.
are even.
Agreed.
It's just like, hey, there's certain time periods where I'm launching something new or diving in, and
Right.
that's gonna be there. But I can't do that for months and years. I have to
Right.
have that balance back as well. Like your kids, like, I
Yeah.
didn't see you for 5 years, Dad. It's like you can't be that dad, right? Especially when family is important
Right.
to you. So balance is
Right.
key, but can't neglect things. Can't neglect our cats. Can't neglect our kids, our health, which will come back and honestly limit us in what we want to accomplish. Because if you
Yes.
don't feel good, you feel healthy, your energy's down, you do less, then you get stressed more, and then it just kind of is once again a hamster wheel. So nothing changes, like you said. People have to
Right.
break out and make that change.
Right. Very much so. Awesome, David. I appreciate you coming on the
Mm.
show. And I've I've been through a lot of different coaches and such, and the experience that you share is the exact one that you have to embrace if you want to do something different. And in the ever changing world of business and of opportunity in this day and age, it's worth you
Mm.
showing up as you, just finding the best way to do that and deliver it to the people around. And that resonate, or they need your help, your assistance, so that you are able to offer your help, get business from it, and live a happy, healthy life that's fun, that's exciting, that's enjoyable, and isn't a 40-year career and then you slowly die. That's definitely not it. So listening in was just a great reminder that if you're a business owner out there, it always goes back to building trust, having conversations with people to then be able to then facilitate a transaction and a good helpful transaction in a sense beyond just like taking someone's money in a sense. So offering value, which is
Mhm.
great. So how do we find you, where you show up at? It'll obviously be in the show notes.
So, I mean, probably the easiest thing if you're insurance agent or business owner, we do run a Facebook group. It is called Marketing for Insurance Agents. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, feel free to hop on. Just say, I heard David on the podcast. But
Yeah,
it's about 37,000 insurance agents around the country in there. Great discussions. We talk about social and a lot of these things in there, and have a podcast called the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast, where we talk about these concepts around technology and sales and marketing, health, a lot of these
great.
things that we pull together for that. And I'm on social, David Denning. If you look for me, picture me there, you can shoot me a message. I handle my messages and would love to connect, would love to chat more. But I just feel blessed and honored to be on the podcast with you,
Yeah.
Brian, and really appreciate having me on.
Yeah, David showed up with authenticity, with excitement. It's been easy to talk with you, and I would tell anyone to definitely jump in. And again, his niche is insurance agents, but if we just peel that title off, it is business owners, and it's anyone that is trying to do business in a modern day era and leverage their strengths, improve their weaknesses, so that they can better serve the world and live a more fun, engaging life. Well, that's it for this episode of Driven for Health. I hope that you took some notes and that this resonated with you. And if it does, show notes, please check it out and connect with us both. All right, off we go.